You know what I don't like, Nuno? I don't like lazy takes. I don't like it when people will just hear a narrative, see something that seems to fit their narrative, and say, see, I told you so. And I heard that a lot when Alabama wound up the number 1 team in this year's college football playoff, and Michigan wound up 2. And I heard, especially from a lot of my friends in the Midwest, all my Big Ten people and everybody else, well, this is SEC bias. This is SEC bias. You guys at ESPN, you, Greeny, make it out like the SEC is so much better than the Big Ten. Now, look, I'm a Big Ten alum. I love the Big Ten. I will root for Michigan with every fiber of my being in the Final Four this year. And I always root for the Big Ten team regardless. But let's be fair. Who is the ultimate arbiter of this stuff? Who is someone who has no bias, who has no ulterior motive in anything? The people who choose the players on the next level. The NFL. You think these guys, these general managers, these scouts, these people on draft day, they're thinking, it's really important to me that the SEC dominance continues to be withheld or to be upheld. So I'm going to plan my draft board accordingly. Of course not. They're choosing the best players. Over the last 5 years, the SEC has had 298 players drafted. That is by a wide margin the most of any conference. And it gets further. If you look at just the first and second round, so the very best players in college football that are going on to the NFL, the SEC has had 110 players selected in the last 5 years, and the Big Ten has had 51. The SEC has had more than double the players drafted in the first and second round, and that's just the last 5 years. We could go back farther than that, and the numbers might even be more one-sided. So the point I'm making is it is a very lazy narrative to say, the people just want to prop up the SEC. No. The SEC has better players. Doesn't mean Michigan can't win. Doesn't mean Michigan isn't going to beat them. And it doesn't mean they didn't deserve it based upon their body of work. But the answer is not always, well, it's SEC bias. The bias is because they have the best players. There's nothing wrong with just acknowledging that. I'd love to see it change. I'm a Big Ten guy. I root for the Big Ten. I watch them every single weekend. We are the best basketball conference. And right now we're the second best football conference. And that's just the reality of it. So I don't mind you wanting to argue with me about Michigan's resume. I don't mind you wanting to argue with me about the eye test. But what I don't want to hear is, well, it's just SEC bias. Because the reality is, in my opinion, that is a lazy narrative. Hambo, you agree or disagree?
I agree 100%. There have been 21 games played in the college football playoff since it started. The SEC's won 11 of them, and all other conferences have combined for 10. It works in the college, and I think it also works in the NFL, and the draft is a great illustrator of
Nuno, are you on my side or not? Because you strike me as the one person who might be opposite me in this.
No, I agree with what you're saying. However, we don't want two SEC teams that just playing again in the semifinals. We are trying to avoid it. And you could have still avoided it by bumping Michigan to 1 and bumping Cincinnati to 3 and had Georgia 4 and still got Michigan. There could have been other different ways. If you did it that way, then I would have been full conspiracy theorist. We want to avoid the SEC because, guys, we think that's your best matchup.
All right. Well, again, the point is the SEC is making it complicated because they so frequently have 2 of the best 4 teams.
Right. And that's why it's part of the reason why you need expansion,
That's not bias. Exactly.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.